Today's podcast has been sponsored by Assured Fertility, the leading specialist in fixed price discounted fertility plans, and all treatment is provided by leading UK clinics. Their simple and transparent multi-cycle plans offer you a fixed cost for treatment, including IVF, ICSI, egg freezing and egg donation. Assured's packages offer a substantial discount in comparison to paying clinics directly. They even offer plans which give you a partial refund based on early success, so there is no risk in signing up. Assured Fertility's experience-friendly team will advise you on the plans and clinics available and are always on hand to guide and support you throughout your treatment. Taking out an Assured plan is a quick and easy process, and there will be no delays in getting started. Contact Assured today on 0333 234 0895 or visit their website at www.assuredfertility.co.uk to start your IVF journey.
Hello and welcome back to Outspoken by Femme Health. My name's Stef, I'm one of the founders, and today we are really excited to be joined by the incredible Amy Beckley from Proov. Thank you for joining us, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's very exciting. I mean, we've been talking all week about pregnancy testing and ovulation. We've spoken to loads of women. We've actually been up and down the streets in the local area asking women what they know about ovulation. And I mean, I was the same. It wasn't a lot until I was in this space. So I'm very excited to be talking to you today. So tell us a little bit about you, Amy, and your journey to launching Proov.
Yeah, I am a PhD scientist, and I thought getting pregnant was going to be very easy. Here I was, this smart, educated woman that had all this science background. Turned out it was not easy, and I struggled, and I had multiple miscarriages, and I was consistently told you hadn't been trying long enough. You haven't had enough miscarriages. And then finally, after, 3 years of infertility, 7 miscarriages, I was allowed to see the doctor just to be told I had unexplained infertility. And really the thing that was going to get me pregnant the fastest, because they didn't know what was wrong with me, was IVF. So 2 rounds of IVF. I have a 13-year-old son now. But then after that, I was like, I'm going to figure out what was wrong. I do not want to do IVF again. Something had to have been wrong that IVF fixed. We dissected the entire IVF process, came to the conclusion that I didn't have a healthy luteal phase. So that is what happens after you release an egg or after ovulation. And so I took a hormone to support the luteal phase, just like you do in IVF. Lo and behold, got pregnant naturally with a very simple medication, 10-year-old daughter. Oh my gosh, women need to have access to this type of information. Developed a diagnostic test that allows women to test and have this knowledge from day one so that hopefully I can prevent other women from having to go through the same that I did.
And that is just crazy that you personally had to go through not only the miscarriages and the loss of that, but you had to go through IVF, and we've been talking a lot about this today. One of our founders, Sarah, she's been on a fertility journey for a number of years. Every professional saying it'll be IVF, and she's made the personal decision that IVF isn't for her. She doesn't want to put her body through that, and quite rightly so if that's her personal choice. Did you ever go back to your GP once you'd done all of this research and say, hey, by the way, I figured this out?
So funny enough, he's actually on our medical advisory board. I am friends with him. I see him at conferences. I owe a lot to him. He's actually the doctor I went back to and said, all right, look, MD to PhD, let's figure this out. What did I miss? What am I not seeing? And so he supported us along the way. I mean, it wasn't his fault. The diagnostic test didn't exist.
Yeah.
And so the number one cause of infertility is unexplained infertility. That means there's not enough diagnostics. There's not enough things that we can say, this is what's wrong with you and fix. That IVF is just a medical band-aid because we just don't know what's going on. And so we try to bypass every system along the way to make it more effective and more likely to get pregnant. It's also very hard on the body and very expensive and very time consuming.
Yeah. And was this did this happen in the UK or in the US?
In the US.
In the US. So if you went to a doctor now, has something changed, or would it be straight to IVF again?
You know, not much has changed. I wish it's changed. It's just doctors have a certain education and a certain knowledge base, and they know a certain amount of things. Innovation and women's health. I mean, this is International Women's Month in March, and it's like celebrating how much more we know and like just everything that's new and innovation. And women are now advocating for themselves. It is consumer-driven healthcare because it is one doctor who has one knowledge base, who has one experience set. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know your history, your story. And so to have the best conversations is if you come in there with your story, he's got his experience, his or her experience, and you have an active conversation. If you go to a doctor and they don't want to have that active conversation, they are pushing you away, they're saying no, they're discounting, go find a new one. I don't know if it's that easy in the UK, but in the US, certainly go find a new one. You don't deserve to be pushed off. And so it's a matter of whether they want to accept the new technology, the new innovation, the new way of doing healthcare.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have the NHS, as you know, we're here in the UK, and we definitely go through the same process of you haven't been trying enough. So, it's 2 years over here, and then, you have to, your BMI needs to be a certain number, and there's still a load of qualifications. And I think that's what femme is about as well. It's having a space in the UK where women can come and see all of these products like Proov and have access to it. Proov has been a really interesting product for us to stock. It has been received so well. And I spoke to a lot of the TTC community in the UK, and the excitement around Confirm has been incredible. Ovulation tests, they're in local supermarkets, petrol stations, they're the same as pregnancy they're on the same shelves as pregnancy testing. But the excitement when I spoke to some of the support groups about the Confirm aspect of it really resonated really well with the community. So can you tell us a little bit more about Proov and the products that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So Confirm is the diagnostic test that would have told me what my problem was and given me the right treatment, so I could have avoided IVF.
Wow.
So Confirm is confirming ovulation. So if you think about ovulation as 28-day cycle, give or take, the first half you're preparing the egg to be released. Around the middle of the cycle is when you ovulate, and so you take ovulation tests to look for that surge in hormone. That's what's going to tell you when your fertile window is and when your egg is most likely going to come out. But there's a whole other half of the story that ovulation tests don't tell you, and that is what's happening after ovulation. And so when your ovary releases the egg, it now starts to produce a hormone called progesterone that prepares your uterus for implantation. And so for pregnancy to occur, you have to have fertilization of that egg by the sperm and implantation into your uterus. And so what was happening is people were timing intercourse and making sure the egg was released, but they weren't looking at, is there a healthy amount of progesterone? Am I set up to support implantation? And that's what Proov does. That's what Confirm does, is it looks at that progesterone production via the urine metabolite. So it's non-invasive. It's a simple P test, 4 days in a row. And it's saying, do you have enough progesterone for long enough? And that is the hormone that's needed to support pregnancy. And during IVF, almost every single woman, I don't know of a single IVF case where there weren't, are put on progesterone because doctors know that hormone is essential. It is called progestational hormone. It's like the pro-pregnancy hormone. And so doctors are like, we did all this work, we put you all these drugs, gave you all these eggs, we're going to support your uterus and give you as much, progesterone as possible. And so
And that needs to remain elevated during the whole of that window.
Yeah. So that's a standard part of the treatment. And for some reason, they're like, well, you only need it in IVF. I'm like, well, what about natural cycles? Why, do women automatically have enough progesterone? And that was kind of the train of thought. But honestly, it's not. Most women are deficient on progesterone because we have a stressful lifestyle. We are waiting longer to conceive. There's toxins, there's plastics, there's just our environment. 50% of women are deficient in this hormone. And so seeing if you're low and then supporting that in the luteal phase, it's a super simple generic drug. You guys have Cyclogest out there. That is the most common, widely available. A very simple thing that a simple test like Confirm, which is, a very cheap way to find out, can kind of unlock that for you.
And is that received well in the US? So if one of your customers took the test and then went to the doctor and said, I've been monitoring my PGG levels and this is my results, how is that received?
It depends. I mean, some doctors love it. They're like, this is great. Like, absolutely. Here you go. Here's your prescription. Other doctors are very closed off. They're very like, well, the research doesn't suggest this, or, oh, you bought it on Amazon or you bought it online. Like, obviously it's not right. We have FDA clearance. We have CE clearance. We've been through all the certifications, all the clinical studies. But you also have to know in the US, healthcare is a business. And if their business is selling you IVF or selling you some other service, they're going to be less likely to give you a treatment that's just a single visit with a prescription. Now, not all doctors. I do not want to generalize, but again, like if you come to a doctor's office and they totally dismiss you, they don't want to talk about it. They, change the subject to say, oh, well, no, never mind. You need this or that or all these other things. Just be weary, like follow your gut. Like, does it feel right? Should I get a second opinion?
And you're living proof of that, living proof of it. So cycle tracking then, for our listeners, cycle tracking, the basics. How would you describe sort of the basics of your cycle? Because we were actually quite alarmed of how many women, not only that we spoke to while we were Voxpopping, but how many staff that we had in the building that we were asking, women that didn't understand the cycle.
I mean, the cycle is the process of ovulation, which is the maturation of an egg, and then the preparation of the uterus for pregnancy. And if that doesn't happen, you shed your lining and do it again. And so that whole process takes the entire month, or it can be anywhere from 24 to 35 days. It can be longer sometimes. It can be shorter. But like that's what's happening during that, from period to period or bleed to bleed is that cycle. It's a coordinated dance of 4 separate hormones that have to do certain things at a certain time. And if anything's out of balance or doesn't happen, it can cause infertility. And so it's like every day the hormones are doing something else in the line with the other things. And so it really can be hard to track. And so, it's been discounted a lot because it's not a single blood test you can get at a doctor's office. And it's been a mystery for so long. And so, developing urine-based tests that is simple as collecting first morning urine, taking a test, scanning it in an app, building that profile. It's amazing because we unlock all these secrets of the menstrual cycle. I mean, even if you're not trying to conceive, your menstrual cycle affects every single cell in your body, your mind, your skin, your hair, your nails, your bones, your heart, your lung, all of it, right? And so having balanced hormones is essential to being a highly functioning, happy woman.
Yeah. So if you're using Proov and you're not trying to conceive, what kind of things could it flag? What could it tell you about yourself and your body?
Yeah, the biggest one women come to us that are not trying to conceive are heavy periods, painful periods, spotting between periods, PMS, All of these things are actually signs of low progesterone. So a simple thing like confirm would be a perfect product to just say, am I making enough progesterone? Is it high enough, these certain days? Because if it drops too soon, that causes that mid-cycle spotting, and it causes the PMS symptoms that, huge drop in progesterone because of PMS, and heavy periods. So in the beginning of your cycle, you make estrogen. Most people only talk about estrogen and they never talk about progesterone.
Never.
But they're like yin and yang. And so estrogen is made in the first half of your cycle, and it is to thicken your uterine lining. So it's like a nice cushiony bed for the embryo. And then after you ovulate, you make progesterone. And progesterone takes that and makes it like a sticky peanut butter sandwich so the embryo can attach and thrive. And it makes like blood vessels and all this fun stuff. And so you need enough progesterone to counteract the estrogen to have a healthy cycle. And so if you make all this estrogen and you get this nice thick lining, and then you don't make enough progesterone, what happens is you have this thick lining that will shed when there's no pregnancy, heavy, painful, crampy period.
Wow. So has your test helped people that may have endo or PCOS go on to further testing? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It is incredibly hard to diagnose PCOS. I've in the UK, in the US, around the world, typically, and endo, it is something that takes up to 10 years sometimes. But, testing hormones and finding out that you're not ovulating, you're not making enough progesterone, that is powerful information. That is one of these indicators of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Like, that's one of the things that you don't ovulate. And so having that piece of information can help you go into the doctor and say, I'm not ovulating, I'm not making progesterone. Can we do additional testing? And then you can get your ultrasounds, then you can get your additional blood work and your diagnosis. But it's unfortunate that a lot of women can't just go in and say, can I get this testing? Because they won't do it. I don't know why they won't do it. But when you have some type of test or result at home that you can bring in and show evidence of this, that makes them kind of take attention and they can't ignore you as much.
You are so right. You are so right. And I'm so interested that people can use this product when they're not trying to conceive, because we speak to a lot of women. A lot of women have come through inquiring about heavy periods. And so getting this test, like you say, knowledge is power, and empowering yourself to walk into that GP with a start, because sometimes you can go into the GP and you'll say something and you don't know enough. So they can say whatever, they can only send you on your merry way, you don't know. And I think it's incredible that we have products like this that can make the woman go walk into that doctor's surgery and feel empowered to say, I know that these levels are low and I need your help. And I think very much when it comes to fertility, that is so incredible. And most women need it. You hear we spoke to thousands of women over the last year while we were, building Femme in the background. And some of the stories that you hear, it was only the other week, a girl had been fertility, trying to conceive for 2 years. She's overweight, but she has an underactive thyroid, which will help with the weight. Didn't know that because they didn't test it, but she did a test on Femme, underactive thyroid and vitamin D deficient. So she's gone back to the GP with the test that she got off our site. I'm like, how have you been under a fertility doctor for 2 years and the only thing they focused on is your weight?
Honestly, I read the guidelines in the UK and I was so disgusted. It literally says in your guidelines, if you are overweight, the guidance is go lose weight and come back later. I was like, are you kidding me?
That is so easy, especially for people that have underlying medical issues that prevent anything late. And then the stress you're putting on your body as well.
Yeah. I mean,
it's absolutely crazy. I just wanted to talk a little bit about education. I mean, I know you're in the US and we're in the UK, but we did a post this week. I don't know if you've seen. I remember putting a condom on a banana, but nobody taught me to put how to insert a tampon. And the amount of DMs we got of people like, oh my God, I remember this. And it was me personally that put that post together, because I still at 36, happy to say this, don't know how to insert a tampon. I comfortably cannot do it. And I remember just never being taught. And it's the same about your cycle. It was only when I came into this space at 36 years old that I understood my own body. How crazy is that we're not being taught this in education? Is that the same in the US?
Oh, absolutely. I have a 13-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter, and he gets pulled from class for, sessions on bullying or like drugs are bad, alcohol, that kind of stuff. Never sexual health, nothing. And it's crazy. I mean, so we make it a point to talk about it, normalize it at home. I talk to my 10-year-old about periods all the time, and cycle tracking and checking her temperature to know if her period's gonna come. She hasn't got it yet, but I'm trying to prep her for it. Because school's not gonna do it. They're not gonna educate them. No. It's too, I don't know what, too scary, too uncomfortable. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, my daughter's 5, and I was working from home yesterday, and she was there. She was off school not well. And she heard me say vagina. I say vagina millions of times a day. I work, for femme health. And she's like, Mummy, stop saying vagina. It is so rude. And I was like, after the call, I came off the Teams call, I said, why do you think that's rude? Who's taught you that? That's just like saying your arm and your leg, it's a piece of your body. She's already at 5 years old, picks that up from somewhere. And I'm going to make sure that when she does get her period, there is some solid, comprehensive education around her cycle, because I remember clearly my mum coming in, okay, don't tell your dad. Here's your pads. We'll go to the doctor's next week and we'll put you straight on the pill. I was 13. Why was I going on the pill? It was crazy to me. It really was crazy. I think there's definitely work to be done. Definitely work to be done with education.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like, we try to, you don't have to have heavy periods. You don't have to have pain of this. We're just going to erase it with this pill. And so that they don't have to worry about these. I'm like, well, there's probably some underlying health condition that you have. Periods aren't intrinsically painful or heavy.
No.
And if you are, there's something wrong. Let's think about it. Let's diagnose it, because again, like, hormones are so important to everything. You shouldn't just turn them off, especially during puberty.
Exactly. I do think as well, then we have normalized pain for women, haven't we? So when you go to a GP and say my period's painful, that's quite normal. Well, no, it's not. This might be normal to you. Normally, dare I say it, but a male doctor that hasn't had the pain that we're going through. Look, it's been absolutely incredible to speak to you today, Amy, and we're so, so excited to be able to work with you and stock all of your products on Femme Health. What is the one piece of advice you would give to people that are currently on a TTC journey?
Follow your gut. Don't let somebody gaslight you or tell you no. Keep fighting, keep looking for answers and other resources. There's a huge community of people out there. You're never alone. Find your tribe, find the ones that can support you. And if someone in your life that's not supporting you, they go away. You don't have time for that.
No. And track your PDG, for sure.
But yes, track your hormones, because most causes of unexplained infertility are hormonal.
Yeah.
And so if you can help get to a diagnosis and treatment faster, it's just going to be very powerful.
Yeah. And you have the app, don't you, to support all your products, so they can put their results straight into the app to keep a full list of their results to take to their GP.
Yeah, we realize women don't have education, so we make it very easy to just put in your cycle information. We'll tell you when to test, how to test. You can scan in your results. We'll tell you the numbers. We'll tell you what it means. We'll tell you the next steps to go talk to your doctor with. So try to make it as easy as possible.
Amazing. Incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Amy. And where do people find you most? Is it on Instagram?
Yes. Instagram, Proov test. So Proov test. We also have a really active support community on Facebook. So just search Proov user support group. Yeah.
Amazing. And then all the products are on femhealth.co.uk. Thanks, Amy. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Today's podcast has been sponsored by Assured Fertility, the leading specialist in fixed price discounted fertility plans, and all treatment is provided by leading UK clinics. Their simple and transparent multi-cycle plans offer you a fixed cost for treatment, including IVF, ICSI, egg freezing and egg donation. Assured's packages offer a substantial discount in comparison to paying clinics directly. They even offer plans which give you a partial refund based on early success, so there is no risk in signing up. Assured Fertility's experience-friendly team will advise you on the plans and clinics available and are always on hand to guide and support you throughout your treatment. Taking out an Assured plan is a quick and easy process, and there will be no delays in getting started. Contact Assured today on 0333 234 0895 or visit their website at www.assuredfertility.co.uk to start your IVF journey.